Subverting democracy to save democracy. Who are we saving democracy from? Guess what? Saving it from people like you, people like me. Who are we saving democracy from? Pretty much Christianity or anybody who likes the civilization that Christianity built. All right, the Durham report came out, and what we found out was what we already knew. Yes, they hated Trump. Trump is just a stand-in for you. That's all it is. They do not like you. They are against you. It's the cultural elites, big media, big tech, the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton, and the Biden administration. Now, all of our companies, all of our woke companies, woke media, woke big tech, all of it, they all really don't like you. They hate you. They hate what you believe. You are the problem, and they are going to break the law in order to save America from you, even though you're the one that likes the ideals that founded America. And even though they don't actually like American principles, you're the bad one. And guess what? Even I think some Christian celebrities, Christian pastors have been involved. We're going to talk a little bit about that too. Ooh, it's going to be a little bit of drama, but that's why you watch the best podcast ever right here on Cooper Stuff. Let's jump into this episode. Come on now. Hey, what's up, everybody? I am super excited to tell you about a new sponsor, something I feel very passionate about, all right? There are a lot of companies out there that are not fighting for you, your marriage, your faith, or your family. You know that's true, and it's getting worse every day. But there is one company that is on your side, Covenant Eyes. Covenant Eyes was founded right here in the USA, and for the past 22 years, they've walked with over 1.5 million people toward a porn-free life. I know it's going to get uncomfortable. Every time you say the word pornography, people get very uncomfortable. Listen, we have got to get rid of this addiction in the church. I have known far too many people that struggle with this, and Covenant Eyes is going to help you. Check this out. This is tearing apart American lives, marriages, families. You know it. It even shipwrecks people's faith because they feel shame. They don't want to be a part of a church. They don't feel like they belong, or they don't live in the light and they hide it. And then they're dealing with this addiction all the time. All right. Look at the divorce rate, the brokenness of families, shame, this and the other. Thankfully, Covenant Eyes is here to help you live a porn-free life and will bring you a new freedom to live honestly. With Covenant Eyes, you choose a trusted friend or family member to help you remain accountable on your devices so you're not alone in the journey. So it's not some stranger. This is something that you do with someone else, all right? Right now, you can try Covenant Eyes free for 30 days. This is an awesome deal. Free for 30 days, a free 30-day trial so you can see for yourself and you can protect your family as a bonus. So it's not just you. You can put it on multiple devices, but maybe with your kids, spouse, whatever your situation is, all right? Visit covenanteyes.com and make sure you enter the promo code Cooper, COOPER. Make sure you enter promo code Cooper or you're not going to get the free trial, all right? So go to covenanteyes.com, enter Cooper as the promo code, and start your free trial. You guys, we have to put this thing to death. I'm very passionate about this in the church, and I want to help you, and Covenant Eyes wants to help you as well. Welcome back to Cooper Stuff, everybody. It is good to be home. We're back in the USSA. I'm sorry, I just said USSA. It's because I was about to say, we're back in the USA, and then that Beatles song came in my head, back in the USSR. Anyway, so I said USSA. I am aware. There's only one S in there, all right? Back in America, it is good to be back, but man, I'll tell you what, you come straight back and boom, it's right back into all the craziness. We got the Durham report in. I'm going to do something different today. Usually what happens is that I would want to read to you what the Durham report is. I would explain what people are saying on the right, people are saying on the left, yada, yada. And then at the end, I would give you my assessment. What I'm finding out is that what people really want to hear more is just my assessment on culture, what have you. What does this mean? So I'm going to flip it. I'll talk about the Durham report later. I'll read you some articles just so you kind of know what it is. But let me give you the brief explanation of what we learned, and I'm going to jump straight into drama. If you want the drama, we're about to jump into the drama. Here's what the Durham report is. It is basically this. Remember, Trump comes in office in 2016, and immediately it's Trump-Russia collusion. The Durham report was going to be the report into the FBI to find out how was there something bad going on? Was something nefarious going on, something illegal perhaps, or something biased that was causing all of this Trump collusion? So how did this even start? Was there actually proper evidence? Long story short, I'm going to read some of that later, but here's the short version. As we already knew, yes, incredible. It's just so absolutely corrupt. All right. Ben Shapiro with the Daily Wire says that it's like the worst. He's like, it's worse than Watergate. He's like, this is the kind of the worst thing we've seen, certainly in our lifetimes, in the corruption in our political system, institutions with the FBI. Basically, it's this. Yes, they decided to look into this Trump thing. No evidence, no reason to do it. And they did it, with different standards. So they bypassed their normal standards. In fact, there's a similar situation with Hillary Clinton that they were going to look into, but what they did was they notified Hillary Clinton to say, hey, we're going to be looking into this because we want to make sure that you're not somehow being hijacked by nefarious forces. So we need to make sure that you know that and to protect yourself. They didn't do it with Trump. There's a lot of things that they just did absolutely wrong. Even people like Jake Tapper. Who's Jake Tapper? Is he at CNN? I believe it is. I've seen the clip. I can't remember if he's CNN or MSNBC, but I'm pretty sure he's CNN. Lefty guy is like, hey, this is really bad on the FBI. It's super duper bad. And in his words, I think he said it partially exonerates Trump. But even on the left, people are saying super duper bad. While some people on the left are actually saying, oh, this is nothing better, there's nothing to really see here. Not true. This is super bad, and it caused a 4-year, this just came out. So what is this? So, nearly 7 years, from 2016 when it started, that we've been working with the Trump-Russia collusion, and it's Russia. That's the thing. And what we see now is like, oh, sorry, wasn't a reason to do that. Never had any evidence. Ignored our own principles, and the FBI looking into it. It's super duper bad. We'll read it later. A lot of people don't really care what it means, the details of that. But let me tell you what it means. This is what it means. You already know this. What it means is this. There are people who believe they are subverting democracy. They are breaking the law. They're doing things that are unconstitutional. They are absolutely involved in corruption. Why? Because they think they're saving America. Think about it like this. Think about like right now today. Think about it if like there's somebody under Putin, all right, in Russia. He's loyal to Russia. And then all of a sudden he finds out, Putin wants to start a nuclear war and he's going to send all these nukes to Ukraine. And he's going to send them all to America just willy-nilly. And he's going to kill tens of millions of people. And you're under Putin. And you're like, hey, I'm absolutely loyal to Russia. I'm loyal to Putin, but this is mass murder like we've never seen. Innocent people, hundreds of millions of deaths, and I got to subvert this because I'm a patriot. It's that kind of idea. See this in the TV show 24. I love 24. Jack Bauer for president. No, wait. So 24 is like this, right? What's going to happen? There's something really bad going on. Guess who knows? The vice president. So what's Jack Bauer going to do? Well, we already know. Jack Bauer is going to basically torture the vice president of the United States. Why? Because we're running out of time. Where are the drugs? It's happening. What Jack Bauer is going to do. It's a TV show. Jack Bauer is the ultimate patriot. He's going to subvert the rule of law for a greater purpose. It's a TV show. It's an awesome TV show. In reality, guess what? We don't think you should go and torture the vice president for answers, okay, Jack? Sorry. So what that sort of idea is what has happened when Trump came in. Now, why is this happening? Because they just really hate Trump? No, because they hate you. They hate you, Christian, watching Cooper stuff right now. They really don't like you. They think that you are causing America to be a terrible, oppressive, evil place. You hate women. Why do we know you hate women? Because you're against abortion. You hate trans people. Why? Because you don't want men to go play on women's sports teams and walk into high school girls' showers. Talking about a dude with a hoo-ha, okay, walking into the showers, a girl like, hey, what's up, everybody? You don't want that. Why do you not want that? Because you hate trans people. Because you want them to commit suicide. We can just go down the list. You are the problem, Christian. If you're watching Cooper stuff and you're not a Christian, but you are what I would call Christian adjacent. I'm using that because it's kind of like a word like the left would use, right? White adjacent, black adjacent, so-and-so adjacent. It's a word that means next to something. You're Christian adjacent. What that might mean is this. Let me give you an example. I just got back from Europe. So I'm in Europe. There are the most beautiful cathedrals. It's breathtaking. It's absolutely astonishing. You're seeing these things that were built 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, who knows? It's unbelievable stuff. And they're so ornate. They've got crosses on them. They've got angel statues or whatever it is in their particular thing. They've got all these, maybe like, what do they call it? Like the little angel, the fat little angel kids, cherubs, or I can't remember what they're called. You get it. All sorts of Christian-esque or Catholic imagery. So you got to know what you're dealing with. Well, sometimes if I was with a runner, and if you don't know what a runner is, that means, so I'm playing a show and I say, hey, I want to go out and see a couple of things. Okay, we'll give you a runner. And they take me in a car and they drive me past things, and I'm passing something that's an awesome looking building, and it's got a cross on it and it's got some saints on it. And I go, oh, wow, is that a church? And the runner says, no, that's not a church. That's a civic auditorium. And I say, a civic auditorium? You mean like they do like concerts there? Yeah, they'll do, anything you do in the civic realm. They do a concert there, might do just like you would do in whatever city you live in. You say, oh, I live outside of St. Louis and we have a civic auditorium. We went there to watch a theater play, to watch the high school play, whatever you did. That's a civic auditorium. And I'm like, yeah, but they have crosses on. They look like churches. What's the deal? Well, because this was Christian culture. And so Christian culture was not confined to a cathedral. Christian culture was not confined to something you do at your house alone as a private belief. It was expressed throughout the culture. So a civic auditorium has got a cross on it inside of it. Why? Because the icons are everywhere, because this entire culture was built as a Christian civilization. Well, guess what? There's a lot about American society that was also built as a Christian civilization. I'm not getting into the argument of whether it was a quote-unquote Christian nation. We're not doing that argument right now. It was a Christian civilization built with an understanding of a civil religion. Didn't mean that everybody was saved, okay? Didn't mean that everybody was actually born again, but it was a civil religion that people kind of agreed on that this is the moral, social fabric of the country. And so we have icons and places to remind us. We have Christian symbols in public. Maybe your civic auditorium has got the 10 Commandments on it. You see what I'm saying? Maybe your particular, city court. I got to go down to court to pay a traffic ticket. You walk in. Maybe there's the 10 Commandments there. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a quote unquote Christian nation, Christian court in the sense of like a theocracy. Or in the sense of, if you're in this nation, then you are a Christian. And if you are not a Christian, then you are kicked out of the nation. It's not that sort of definition, but it is a Christian civilization. It is a nod. It is a, yes, this is the things that we believe. Well, guess what? The world hates that. The Biden administration hates that. Okay? All of the big corporations hate that. Big media hates it. Big tech hates it. My friend Billy Hollowell, friend of the show, who you know, he just got dinged on Facebook. They're saying, hey, one more time, we're yanking you off of Facebook. And under there, he says, what did I do? And they have highlighted something that he posted that he is not allowed to post. It is against their guidelines. What did he say? He said, Jesus died so that you may live. Boom. You are going to be kicked off this platform for hate speech and for our regulations. You are not allowed to say that. The Durham report isn't about Trump. The Durham report is about you. They think that you are the evil people. Now, you might say, well, my civic auditorium doesn't have the 10 Commandments. It's a neutral society, John. Well, let me ask you this. Is there a chance that this month your civic auditorium has got pride flags? Do you think there's a chance that it's got, trans activism? Was there a time when it had BLM flags? Was there a time when it's got social justice stuff? Guess what? There's a new civil religion, and it ain't Christianity. It is atheistic, utopian social justice. Authoritarian alphabets, all right? All the alphabets, BLM, LGBTQ+, all the authoritarian alphabets, that is the new civil religion. And they hate Christianity. If you're Christian adjacent, meaning you're not born again, but you kind of like Christian civilization, meaning I grew up in America and we believe in these kind of certain things, this moral framework. I don't believe that Jesus is the Son of God. I don't believe like he died on a cross and took the sins of the world upon him and rose from the dead. And I don't necessarily believe that, but I do believe in the moral ideas that Christianity promotes, promulgates, and that created our society. I think that's actually a pretty good thing. Then you are Christian adjacent. And guess what? They hate you too. That's just what it is. They hate you. And guess what? This isn't just limited to a few of the cultural elites. They all can't stand you. Can I give you some examples? And you know what? I'm ready to boycott everything up in this piece. Everything up in this piece. Boycott it. Boycott it. They hate you. Why are you giving them their money? If you'd asked me 5 years ago, would John Cooper ever be saying, don't go buy this or this or this, boycott those things? If you told me 5 years ago that I would not ever see a Marvel film again, I love me some Marvel because Disney hates me. Disney hates what I believe. Disney thinks that I don't deserve to raise my own kids. They should be telling my kids, but they want to indoctrinate my kids into their perverse worldview. I don't want anything to do with them. In other words, I really love Marvel, but you know what? I love like righteousness a lot more than I love Marvel. Okay. I love the future of your kids and your grandkids and my grandkids. I like that. I care about that future so much more than not watching another stupid hero film. Yeah, I said it. And guess what? I love hero films. It's a tiny little sacrifice. You know I love me some Marvel. You know I love it. But my gosh, they want to indoctrinate They want to indoctrinate my kids. They want me to not be able to teach my kids what I think is right so they can do it. These people are perverse. Don't give them your money. Let's talk about a few things. You got to watch this video clip because I've told you guys, I've been saying, I feel like I was on the cutting edge of talking about this incredible move to normalize drag queens, as if there's no way we could live American life without drag queens. That it's now, drag queen is like the new, like almost like slavery type issue. You know, like slavery was so horrible and it was so terrible, but it's still going on today. It's still going on today because drag queens we don't want them dragging in front of our kids and bumping and grinding. And so it's basically the civil rights issue of our day is the drag stuff. Hollywood is all in it. You've got to see this insane video. They're raising money and they're lying, saying that we're trying to take rights away from drag people. All that the red states are saying is that drag queens should not be able to perform in front of minors. And Hollywood is like, this is the civil rights issue of our day. Why? Because Hollywood's a bunch of freaking perverts. Don't give them your money. You don't need to see that movie. I mean, I know I sound like some wacko fundamentalist here. I love films. As you know, I talk about films all the time. I'm not giving these people my money. They are perverse. Why are they raising money for drag queen organizations? This is insane. Watch this video. This is Charlize Theron explaining to you that if you haven't been to a drag performance, you're actually not as good of a person. Here we go. Watch this clip.
There's so many things that are hurting and really killing our kids. And we all know what I'm talking about right now. And it ain't no drag queen. Because if you've ever seen a drag queen lip sync for her life,
yep,
it only makes you happier. It only makes you love more. It makes you a better person. If I could do a death drop right now, I would. But I would probably like break my hip. But,
do it.
And listen, I want to ask everybody out there, please support all the great organizations that are out there helping all of this nonsense going away like it should. All of these incredibly stupid policies. Bye.
Bye.
No more room for hate. Only love. And love equals drag queen.
Drag queen.
See, it makes you a better person. What are you waiting for? Kevin Bacon out dancing with his drag shirt. I'm fighting for drag. Right. Done with the I love Kevin Bacon. I did. Why are they preaching me like this? Like, if you're against this, we don't have any more time for this hate. All we have time for is love. And what is love? Drag queens. That's what love is. I've been saying on this podcast for 2 years, and a lot of people have said it for a lot longer than me. Do you think it's possible that there's a redefinition of love happening? Let me think about it. Could there be? Yeah, I think there might be. Because what is love? Drag queens. It makes you a better person. These corporations hate you. Let's read a couple of the absolute crazy things. Okay, who else hates you? The Dodgers. This is the weirdest thing. When I read this, I'm like, somebody explain. I know a lot of people like the Dodgers. Who doesn't like sports? Guess what? The Dodgers don't like you. So the Dodgers in their LGBT event they're doing. Why are baseball teams doing LGBT? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? So here's what the Dodgers, they have this LGBT event. Now I'm going to read the latest article, which is the Dodgers boot anti-Catholic, quote, Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence from their LGBT event. But listen, this went on for a while, and a bunch of Catholic organizations, people started making a big stink because the Dodgers were going to give a community hero award. Listen to the name, listen to this group, to an anti-Catholic organization called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. It's a group of men who dress in drag queen versions of Catholic religious habits that claim to have a, quote, ministry, according to its own website. Let's see. I'm reading the article that says where they find the good news is that the Dodgers are pulling the front, which is good. Okay, but let me read some of the things that they were about. Members of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence go by names like Sister Taint a Virgin, Sister Risque of the Sistine Chapel, and Sister Edith My Flesh. Do you hear that? So there's drag queens have like performance name. His drag performance name is this: Sister Edith My Flesh. Just think about that for one tiny second. Sister Edith My Flesh, like Jesus Christ saying, "Eat my flesh." An anti-Catholic drag queen organization going to the depths of blasphemy to name yourself in a mockery of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Okay. I can't exaggerate this. And no matter what I said would not be extreme enough to say the level of perversion, degradation, offense. Do you believe for one hot minute the Dodgers would have on a drag queen organization making fun of Allah, making fun of Islam? Do you think they do that? Do you think they'd have some making fun of Hinduism, making fun of whatever else they want to make fun of? In other words, any other religion besides Christianity, would they do that? Would they come on and make fun of Muslims and make a mockery of something that another religion believes is sacred? No, they wouldn't do that. But you can make fun of Christianity because Christianity are oppressors, and oppressors are the ones that they need to save democracy from. This is unbelievable stuff. The group also mocks the process of becoming a Catholic nun by having members become a postulant, then a novice, and finally a fully professed sister with a black veil. One of the group's founders originally used old habits used by real Catholic nuns. I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about Catholicism, but I understand what they're saying. In other words, if you're going to become a nun, you go on these steps. And what they're saying is, hey, we're going to have steps. If you really want to be one of the true sisters of the drag queen, then we're going to use the Catholic model, and we're going to call it this and this and this, and then we're going to have a group slogan. And what is their group slogan? Go forth and send some more. And the Dodgers are like, we're going to give you a community award because this is awesome. Why? Because we have to tear down Christianity in order to create a new glorious union of democracy for freedom and inclusion. That inclusion means we make fun of, Christians. That inclusion means we make fun of Catholics. That inclusion means we make fun of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, whose words at one point were the foundation of the very nation we live in. These people really, really hate you. Quote, we are more than just another community service organization. We are sisters, they say. As with our more traditional counterparts, nearly all of us felt a genuine, listen what they say, the drags. We felt a genuine calling to do this work. Oh, God has called them for such a time as this. There's room for a lot of fun in the order with a capital O. There's a lot of fun in the order, capital O, but we take our callings and our vows very seriously, the group's website says. Back in 2007, members of the drag group tricked the Archbishop of San Francisco into giving them the Eucharist so they could defile it. On Easter this year, the group put out a Jesus and Mary themed striptease. Are you hearing this? On Easter this year, the group put on a Jesus and Mary themed striptease that involved a performer writhing upside down on a large wooden cross, the San Francisco Chronicle reported. They also had shirtless men compete to be the hunkiest Jesus. Slow clap. Slow clap for the Dodgers. They hate you. They believe that the world, that Jesus sees, it's just like I said, it's just like driving and seeing the crosses on civic auditoriums. Jesus and Christianity used to be the aroma of society. Or I'm using the word aroma of society because that's a phrase that Karl Marx used. He did not like that Christianity was the aroma of society. We need to get rid of any aroma of Christ. It's almost like any reflection of Jesus in the nation, any reflection of Jesus in our morals, any reflection of Christianity in society, in the social norms, in the social structure, in the created order. All of that has to be just dealt with, revolutionized, torn down, thrown away. Because why? Because it is terrible for society. It is oppressive. Get rid of it so we can create the new order. Just read this. You should see this for fun. This pains me because I love Ford. I have a Ford. Built Ford tough. I got a truck on Ford's Media Center. Here's what they say. I'm going to ask to put this up on the screen so you can see what this looks like on the website. Ford Media Center. Ford's, quote, very gay Raptor set to redefine tough at Goodwood. I'm not going to read the whole article. Basically, they're calling it their very gay Raptor. I don't really know the market for this. This to me kind of reminds me of the Bud Light controversy. I don't know how many Bud Light drinkers are dying to promote Dylan Mulvaney, who is a man who says, not that he's a woman, he says he's a little girl. He did his 365 days of girlhood on TikTok where he's saying he's a grown butt man, or he's a grown man, not just saying that he's a woman, but he's a little girl. And so he makes fun of girl stereotypes, like with pigtails and like, well, and today I went and I did this, and I argue with people, am I such a girl because I couldn't make my mind up? They're offensive stereotypes, I was told. If a man did it, I mean, he is a man, but in other words, if a man that wasn't saying he was trans did it, it would be absolute toxic masculinity. Not to mention there's something wrong with a grown person pretending he is a little person. A grown woman pretending she's a little girl is messed up. A grown man pretending that he is a little boy is dang messed up. A grown man pretending he is a little girl, you know what that is? That's pride. Woo! Hero. He's a hero. So Ford is like, hey, we got a very gay Raptor for you. I don't really know how that's going to go around. Let me show you one more thing before I keep going about how much they actually hate you. You got to see this. This just came up on Twitter. Read who said this. I can't remember his name. On Twitter, Tom Elliott. He has what he calls the COVID retrospective series, Volume 1. I'm going to play the whole video. Now, listen, it's 3 minutes long. I'm aware this is a long video, but you got to see it. I don't know what to say. It's absolutely shocking. As a reminder, how much people hate you. Before we play the video, I just need to say this. We do not need to live in hate of these people. We need to forgive these people. They were deceived. Fear makes you do absolutely insane things. We need to forgive them. All right? We need to forgive them and say, hey, we love you because Christ loved me. God doesn't love me based on my performance. I have to love you not based on your performance. That's what Christ calls me to do. Right? But we can't let this pass without learning some things from it. One of the things that we must learn is to realize that they all hate us. We have to realize that. And what Christian leaders need to realize is, hey, they all hate us. And Christian leaders, you need to not be sucked in by the propaganda of big media. You need to get some discernment. I'm sorry. You've got to get some discernment. You are going to have to read literature before you come on and start telling fellow Christians and your own flocks and your own sheep that we are denying Christ's commandment to love one another if we don't go inject a vax inside of us that we have no idea if it's going to help anything or not. Maybe read some of the literature before you start slandering all of us. Just an idea. All right. People like Rick Warren and people like that. All right. It was just absolute statism. I'm sorry, but Rick Warren's he's shown himself to be an absolute statist. All right. I usually call that commies. I don't mean he's literally a communist, but commies is my word for any statist because I think it's funny. So when I hear him, I'm like, oh, smell that, Shaggy? What is it? It's a commie. It's a commie, Shaggy. Kind of commie-ish. I want you to watch this 3-minute video so you remember how much they hate you. It's 3 minutes long. I'm sorry. Listen.
When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
You are the unvaccinated. You are the problem. It is the unvaccinated who are the problem. Period. End of story.
The only people that you can blame, this isn't shaming, this is the truth. Maybe they should be shamed, are the unvaccinated.
It's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks.
Anyone you came into contact with will blame you, as will the rest of us who have done the right thing by getting vaccinated.
Because frankly, we know that we can't trust the unvaccinated.
I think it's time to get our moral house in order, Anderson. It's the unvaccinated who are the threat.
All of us vaccinated folks are going to start wearing masks to protect the unvaccinated folks. It's called a Christian value.
You're basically punishing the vaccinated for the sins of the unvaccinated.
People are not behaving honorably. The unvaccinated are basically saying, well, it's open season for me. I can do whatever I want as well.
The unvaccinated are basically beating their breasts and running around the country saying, we don't care, we're living free and so forth.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
The unvaccinated, a group that includes children and people acting like children. And the rest of us are starting to get pissed off.
The vaccinated feel the unvaccinated are making me upset or angry.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No. Screw your freedom.
The other day, Howard Stern weighed in with a much different approach. Take a look.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? Their freedom.
But you're treading on our freedom and you're making other people sick, and really you're killing other people.
The anti-vaxxers, they seem to have a thing for death and home remedies.
The anti-maskers turned anti-vaxxers are not just putting their own lives at risk. If that was the issue, we could just say that we can watch them compete to win place or show in the Darwin Awards.
We have to start doing things for the greater good of society and not for idiots who think that they can do their own research.
And don't get me started on the lunatics who won't take any of the COVID vaccines.
Life is too short to be an ass. Life is way too short to be ignorant of the promise of something that is helping people worldwide.
Maybe you're doing it because you're disconnected or disorganized. Maybe you have some sympathetic psychological reasons. But maybe you're just being antisocial.
Oh, you can't shame them. You can't call them stupid. You can't call them silly. Yes, they are.
Those who are not vaccinated will end up paying the price.
The unvaccinated should be taxed. They should pay more for health care.
We need to start looking at the choice to remain unvaccinated the same as we look at driving while intoxicated.
We're going to see, and I've said, almost two types of America.
Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack, yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo, rest in peace, Wheezy.
Pointing back to the unvaccinated who are really creating a problem in this country, every death that we are seeing from COVID could have been prevented.
Literally, the only people dying
are the unvaccinated. And for those of you spreading misinformation, shame on you. Shame on you. I don't know how some of you sleep at night.
There you go. You're the ones that we hate. You're the bad people. Now, nobody's apologized, even though I don't think anybody denies this now, or do they? Send me, I can't keep up. Send me a comment if I'm wrong. I don't think anybody denies now that, my bad, getting the vax doesn't stop the transmission. Does anybody deny that now? I mean, I know that we were on limited information, but it wasn't actually that hard to find. And even if there was limited information, that should give these people a little bit of humility to say, we don't exactly know. We think it stops the transmission. We still think it's a good idea, but maybe we stop with you're the worst person in the world. You're basically Hitler if you don't get a vax, especially the Christian commies out there that were into the status stuff and they were all that. None of them have repented. Do we need to forgive them? Yes. We don't need to be bitter at them, but we do need to remind them that, hey, you really should repent. You really should repent. My favorite part of it is the woman that's on, I don't know if that was CNN or MSNBC. Same diff, same thing, same Z's, hashtag same Z's, statist, commies. It's the same difference. I don't know what she's like. This is about Christian principle. I always think, woo! People who don't know anything about Christianity lecturing about Christian principle is just rich. Now, I don't know that person. Maybe she even thinks she is a Christian or says I have no idea. Maybe she is. Who knows? I don't know who she is. The point is, I've been telling you, you can talk about Jesus on MSNBC and CNN. They don't mind you talking about Jesus, just like they don't actually mind you being a Christian at your house, in your head, the things you believe in your heart. They don't want the aroma of Christ in society. In other words, you can say you're a Christian all you want to until you start putting your the moral commands of Christ on us. That's what we're not going to put up on. CNN will let you talk about Jesus as long as you are for their secular moral revolution. Hello, I'm going to say it again. If you just say you love Jesus, nobody's going to persecute you. As long as you use preferred pronouns, and as long as you agree that trans men are men and trans women are women, and as long as you bow down to all the alphabet pronouns, and you don't make a stink when you go to your civic auditorium and they've taken down the 10 Commandments and replaced it with Pride Month, as long as you don't make a stink, they couldn't give zero poops if you love. You can say that you believe in Jesus or fairy tales or aliens that came here and gave us the pyramids and the 10 Commandments. They don't give zero poops about that. They only care if what you're saying is actually Jesus has some moral commands that we actually have to follow. Now you're in deep water, son. They ain't messing around with. You can go just like the person on CNN, the man that says he's a woman that came on CNN a few months ago, and he's like, all this is just hate. This isn't the Jesus Christ that I know, because the Jesus Christ that I know created us in her image. Well, they'll let you talk about Jesus in the Bible all you want to, as long as you say that God's a woman. They don't care, or God's trans. They don't care about that. So that kind of proves that. Now, we're about to get into a little bit more drama that some people are going to have a problem with. And you know what? That's just my game. That's just my game. To quote Johnny Ringo from Tombstone. Play for blood, remember? That's just my game. Actually, I'm wrong. It wasn't Johnny Ringo. Johnny Ringo's the guy that said who's going to play for blood. And it was Doc Holliday that said, that's just my game. Say when. All right. So that was before I was boycotting Hollywood, before, it was like super duper duper clear that they're all perverts and they all want to make your children perverse. And they believe that the world's a better place when your kids can see the drag queens grinding in front of them, because they're a bunch of perverted, privileged people. I call it pervert privilege. Moving on with this. This is going to make some people mad. Guess what? It's not just, quote, the world that hates you. It's a whole bunch of Christian people that hate you too. I already told you that. A bunch of Christian leaders, they kind of hate your ideas about COVID. They kind of hate your ideas about a lot of things. So I'm going to read this, and it's probably going to make Kevin Max really mad, because Kevin Max, formerly from DC Talk, who knows what he is? I don't think he knows what he is. He gets mad when people say that he no longer believes in Jesus, and then he spends all of his time, like his posts, he calls himself a universalist. He constantly berates evangelicals constantly. And he constantly likes to throw hand grenades on Twitter. Throwing hand grenades on Twitter, and as soon as you push back, he's like, you hurt my feels. Why are you doing this? And he's going to cry and moan about it. So if he hears this, he's going to cry and moan about it. But you're the one throwing hand grenades. Anyway, so here's what Kevin Max posts this week. Are you ready? He reposted a guy called Mason Meninga. I've seen Mason's stuff. I don't really know. Who cares? I don't even care. Mason is either an atheist or he's an ex-evangelical or deconstructed or progressive or apostate. I have no idea. I don't really care. I only see him when people repost him. Kevin Max reposts him and says, evangelicals, when they can't oppress people, quote, we are in the last days. Evangelicals, when they can't oppress people. We're in the last days. What they're saying is that evangelicals like to oppress the world. How do we know this? Because America is oppressive, and it was built on this wrong understanding of Christianity by evangelicals. Presumably, that's what they're saying. So evangelicals love to oppress people, and when all of a sudden we can oppress people, and all of a sudden we're going, man, life is getting scary. Life is getting scary. I'm a little frightened that if my grandkids don't use preferred pronouns, they're going to be kicked out of the job market. There may be legal penalties for parents that don't want to transition their kids. That's already happening in Canada and other places, as we know. That's a little bit scary. And so Kevin Max is saying, oh yeah, evangelicals, when you can't oppress people, this is getting scary. We're in the last days. If you think that I'm not being fair to Kevin Max, here's another one he reposted from an account called Transvangelical. Honestly, evangelicals need to start hoping they're wrong about hell. Their actions against queer people, especially trans people, is a guarantee they'd end up there. So Kevin Max says he's universalist. I put the post up there. That's his own words. I'm not reading into what he means in that, except that there's a word called universalist, and I know what that word means, and he's applied it to himself, which means that you don't believe there's a hell. Everybody's gonna be saved. Jesus died for the sins of every single person, whether they repent, whether they're ever born again, maybe they even hate Jesus and they hate his name and they say, I want nothing to do with you. Even if heaven was real, I wouldn't want to be there with you. And God says, too bad, you're gonna be. That's what universalism is. It's his own words. They need to start hoping they're wrong about hell because their actions against queer people, especially trans people, it's a guarantee they'd end up there. And as soon as I say this, I'm going to hurt Kevin in his feels, and he's going to, oh, you hurt my feels. Why are you so oppressive, John? You can't even sing. Well, you know what? Kevin Max hates you too. I don't care what he says. He is constantly attacking us on his Twitter page. Go look at his Twitter page. See if I'm lying. Go look at his Twitter. He doesn't like you. He doesn't like what you believe. He thinks you're oppressing people. And now that you're not allowed to oppress people, that you're like, oh my gosh, Jesus must be coming back soon because everything's getting really bad because I'm not allowed to oppress people right now. And it's just getting really, well, it's time for Christian artists to decide which side they're on. All right. Now, Kevin's not a Christian artist anymore. He's a self-professed. He's been traded. In his own words, he was a Christian all-star traded to the ex-evangelical team. So there you go. Any Christian artist who claims that he's an all-star should not be listened to. Just saying. Moving on, something really depressing happened this week, and I would be hypocritical if I didn't cover it, and it is pertinent. And I'm not saying this because I want to be super duper rude. I'm saying it because we have to say things that are true. Now, if I got a recommended podcast for you, you should go listen to Allie Best Stuckey's podcast. Came out just a few days ago, and she did this. It's on Lauren Daigle's words about abortion. It is a great episode. I think Allie's being really fair personally. I need to say this. I am not friends with Lauren Daigle. I met her once, and she was so very, very sweet. I like her. I would like to be friends with Lauren. I do not have disdain for her. I do not dislike her. I liked her. She's really, really, really sweet. But she's getting a lot of strikes against her. And there's a lot of people, Christians, that are, here's what they're saying. They're not saying, I hate you, Lauren Daigle. That what they're saying is we Christians, we normie Christians out there, people watching Cooper stuff, are saying it would be so nice to see Christians who have a platform and have an influence in the world. It would be so nice to see you have our backs. going into the world and just saying that you love Jesus is not enough, because you can go on CNN and say, I love Jesus because Jesus is a woman, and CNN's going to let you say it. You can go on CNN and say, this is a Christian thing. You have to get triple, quadruple vax for infinity life. You can be a Christian statist commie and go on there and say, I love Jesus, and that means you got to do whatever the state tells you. You saying you love Jesus is not enough. You have to stand up for something that Christ commands, take some heat so that you can give us normal people some courage to stand against the secular tide, to stand strong for my faith. That's what Christians are longing for. And so this week, Lauren was asked in an interview, because she's from Louisiana, what do you think about the abortion laws in Louisiana? What do you think about that? Because they have strict abortion laws and what they're getting at. Now, number one, I wish that these outlets didn't do this. Like, Lauren doesn't want to talk about this stuff, obviously. I don't think she should have to talk about this. She wants to be a singer. She's a very nice person. She wants to just sing her songs and be a, whatever, a positive influence, whatever she wants to do. I'm not making fun of her. I'm just being honest. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Go do it. Do your positive, be a source for positivity, play some songs. She's got an amazing voice, amazing songs, one of the biggest artists in the world. Let her go do her thing. But no, these journalists are activists. And what they mean is you're from Louisiana, and you're a woman, you have a job to do. Stand up for women. What do you think about the abortion laws? Wanting her to say, oh yeah, I'm against it because I'm a woman. Because there's only one thing the media will allow you to be. Lauren, obviously, I don't know Lauren, but she can't be dumb. She knows this is going to cost me. And to be fair, maybe she doesn't want to go there. I don't blame her for not wanting to go there. Like, I just want to be a singer. I don't want to touch this. I want to be a singer. But what she says is, she's like, honestly, I don't even really know what the laws are. That's like not my thing. It's not the worst answer in the world. I get it. And maybe she doesn't. I have no idea. It's not the worst answer in the world. But man, would it be nice to see one of the biggest artists in the world lovingly say, actually, I don't really know I'm not really aware of what those laws are. I am pro-life. I do believe that God creates life in the womb and that every single individual is created by God himself. Maybe you quote scripture. You know what I mean? You knew me in my inward parts before I was born, is what the Bible, this is what David said. You knew me in my mother's womb. Man, would that be nice? Man, would that be nice? Why don't we see Christian artists stand up for this? Because it costs you something. Because it costs you something. Man, would it be nice to see some Christian artists not ashamed. See, you can say you're not ashamed of Jesus Christ, but just like I said, the trans dude that goes on CNN, he's not ashamed of quote unquote Christ, God the woman. I mean, I don't think we're worshiping the same Christ, to be honest, but he's not afraid to talk about Jesus. Being not ashamed of saying that you follow Jesus it just does not mean the same thing it did 30 years ago, because people used to know what you mean. And now they have, what do you mean? You're not afraid of following Jesus? Which Jesus are we talking about? Jesus the woman? Jesus the trans person? Jesus the person that's, you know what I'm getting at? I don't need to keep going down the list. You saying that you're a Christian, I follow Jesus, that's not even radical anymore. It doesn't even mean anything anymore if you are not going to be willing to stand up for the moral commands of God, Jesus, and say, yeah, I follow Jesus, and there is a moral law that means this is what it means to follow Jesus. Otherwise, I'm not actually following him. It's just words coming out of my mouth. What I'm getting at is that even a lot of Christian celebrities, Christian musicians, even some Christian pastors, I'm sorry, but it's true, they actually don't, I'm not saying they hate you as well. Kevin Max is in that position because he's obviously not within historic Christianity anymore. But even the fact that he's a universalist puts him outside of that. So yeah, he's in that position. He doesn't like you and your ideas. I am not putting Lauren in that thing, but she knows enough to know that if I stand up for these biblical things that historic Christianity has always stood up for, like sex is between one man and one woman, or the abortion issue, I know that what that's going to be saying is, hey, I don't just follow Christ, I follow his commands. In other words, I like the aroma of Christ. I like his commands. I like the aroma. And guess what happens? It's going to cost you. Christians, we're in a place that we're going to have to decide, is it worth the cost to follow Jesus? It's like the parable of the pearl in the field. The guy's walking the field for sale, and he's like, oh, I found this amazing pearl. It belongs on this property. And I need that pearl. It's worth everything I have. I got to buy the property so that I can have this great pearl. And he goes and he sells every single thing that he has so he can buy this plot of land so that he can attain the pearl. Why? It is the pearl of great price. That pearl is the kingdom of God. That is salvation. It is the kingdom. It is worth your entire life. Or is it worth some of your life? Is it worth all of your life? Which means I am going to have to let people know, hey, by the way, I do think that killing human beings in the womb is not good. I know it's going to cost my career a little bit. Well, is the pearl worth it or is the pearl not worth it? I'm getting confused. Is the pearl worth it or not? I don't really know what the Bible says about that and sexuality and gender. I'm really not sure. I'm just all about Jesus. Are you? There's a pearl there. There's a pearl there. Are you going to sell everything you have for that pearl or not? Now, listen, I'm not saying everybody needs to go on social media and start yelling about stuff. There may be somebody that asked me a question in an interview, John, what do you think about so-and-so? I might say, hey, I'm going to be honest, I don't really want to talk about that. That's not why I'm here. End of sentence. I don't want to talk about it. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to play music. I'm here to play music for all kinds of people that I hope do not agree with me, that do not believe in the same Jesus that I believe in. I want them to be here. I love them. Music brings people together. I want to sing my songs and spread a message of hope. And somebody may hear what I have to say about Jesus, and they may change their mind. They may give Jesus a shot. They may go, I'm going to open my Bible and see if this is real. And boom, truth may come into their hearts. They may be awakened by the Holy Spirit. I hope they're here. And so I'm here to play a concert. I'm not here to divide people. I don't really want to talk about all of that. I get it. Might say that at some point. But guess what? There's a time coming when you are going to have to decide, is the kingdom of God the pearl of great price, or is it just too dang costly? I'm sorry, but it has to be said. And I want to be clear, I am not throwing full judgment on Lauren. I think she's a nice person that truly does not want to get involved in these issues. I get it. But at the same time, the time is here. Choose this day who you will serve. The time is here. I'm sorry, it just is. I just don't see any way we can continue to get around those things. And Christians, we should not be embarrassed about the moral impositions of God, because they are good and they are right and they will lead to the flourishing of society. All right, we're rounding the end of this thing because I know people are going to start paying attention soon. Let me read a little bit from the Daily Wire and the Durham. John Durham's years-long investigation into Trump-Russia collusion investigation is over. Special counsel John Durham's report on his investigation into Trump-Russia collusion during the 2016 is finished. The report has been released to several outlets according to reports, blah, 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 blah. The Washington Free Beacon's Chuck Ross reported on Monday. Durham report is finished and dropping some blah, 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 blah. Let's say one quick thing that catches my eye. FBI ended one aspect of its investigation after a long time and valuable confidential human source made an improper and possibly illegal campaign contribution to the Clinton campaign on behalf of a foreign entity, Ross said. It's a 320-page report. All right. A lot of people are basically saying this. Here's another quote from Sean Davis from The Federalist. He says, neither U.S. nor the intelligence community appears to have possessed any actual evidence of collusion in their holdings at the commencement of the Crossfire Hurricane investigation. You guys, this is insane. This divided the country for 4 years. All of this volatility, we have Christian people, Christian leaders saying you can't possibly support Trump because he is in with the Russians based on these lies, just based on nothing, all right? This is a really big deal. Even David French's Dispatch, which David French has also been saying this for a while. This is what the Dispatch reports on it. Let's find it. This is on, as I said, you have to go follow the Dispatch. That's David French, who I am no fan of, as you know. David French, who hates Trump and who has been saying he's been involved in Russia collusion. This is what they report. 4 years and 1 day after he was first appointed to probe the origins of Trump-Russia investigation, Operation Crossfire Hurricane, Special Counsel John Durham's final report was made available to the public. Did it uncover, quote, the crime of the century? That's what CNN, MSNBC, the left, everybody's been saying it. Was it a sinister flop that ended with a whimper? Or did it identify numerous instances of unprofessional, incompetent, and prejudiced conduct by federal law enforcement officials that's incredibly damning for those involved while not necessarily rising to the level of criminality? If you can't tell already, we're leaning towards door number 3. I'm not going to read the rest. In other words, you have Jake Tapper at CNN. He's like, this is really bad on the FBI. This has split apart the nation for 4 years, all based on prejudiced, incompetent information, and they ignored their own standards. Why? Because they're like Jack Bauer. They're like Jack Bauer that's got to torture folks to find out where the nuclear bomb is, even if it's the vice president, even if it's illegal, even if he's got to kill somebody to do it, he's going to get that information. Why? Because he's saving democracy up in this piece. This is what the left believes. They believe they are saving America from Christianity, from the aroma of Christ, if you want to use that phrase, or not the aroma, I would say the reflection of Christianity in all of our institutions and our morals. And it has gone so far up the chain that it has infected a lot of Christian leadership, Christian musicians, former Christian musicians, big media, big tech that just might take you off their platform if you use hate speech such as Jesus died so that you may live. That is where we're at. And the question to you is, are you going to stand up for Jesus? You know why? Choose this day whom you will serve. That is the invitation. And I pray that you choose Christ. Thanks for watching Cooper Stuff.
Read the Bible.
Cooper Stuff. I'm in the game.